last couple looks here at the team before opening night. What are the last kind of messages that you're trying to get into everybody's minds here?
We just keep building here, as we've done right from day one. Clearly, we've got, I guess, 3 more days before opening night, and I think everybody's excited to get going and see what that looks like, and get right into the regular season. It's been a long training camp, and when you get down into these days here, you just look forward to the start of the season.
Lane, is there anything specific you would work on in the next 2 or 3 days? Things you think can be a little tuning up?
Well, we're going to have to continue to work on our special teams. It's going to be a big part of what we do, and not only what we do early on, but certainly what we do as a whole, overall. So, that'll be a big focus for us over the next couple of days, along with other things that we've been working on. But, certainly with some guys being back now a little bit, power play looked a little better today in practice.
So obviously a couple more roster moves to come to get down to the 23, but there were a couple guys that I think would have required waivers today. Am I right about that, for them to go down? Was there a deadline for that?
Well, yeah, you have to. There's a couple guys that needed to, they'd be put on waivers, and whether or not they clear, we'll know tomorrow.
Right. So like a guy like, say, Cale Fleury, right, would have required waivers. So is that fair to say that he's on the opening night roster at this point? And I guess either way, what has he shown you in camp?
You know what? I think he's shown himself very well in camp. I think he's done it. First of all, he's done a pretty good job on that second unit power play in the absence of the Duns and the Montours overall. He's shown me the ability to defend, and he is at his best when he keeps it simple and moves pucks. And I think he's had a pretty good training camp.
Lane, you mentioned the other day that it's kind of a collaboration, you and Bots and Ron and others, on building that roster, but this is your first time around with them. How's it worked for you in terms of the guys that you really think should be among the 23?
Well, again, it's like we say, it's a collaboration, just like we talked about right from day one when I first came to Seattle to even interview for the job. So there's certain, I think we align pretty good. That's one of the reasons I'm here, in terms of how we see the organization, what direction we see the organization heading in. And of course, it's a long season. Things change, and certain players that maybe are final cuts, it doesn't mean they're gone forever.
Yeah, I was just going to ask the guys that are in those final cut categories, quote unquote. I mean, what does that mean for them to be here at this point of camp, especially a couple of young guys who may end up?
Yeah, no, it means a lot, because you're in the final stages here, and let's be clear, this is it's an NHL season, which is 82 games. It's an Olympic year, which condenses those 82 games, and you're going to need players. There's a lot of games in a short period of time, and so anyone who's here at this point in time bodes well for them for sure.
You've had a chance, obviously, to know some of your coaches before this season. Some of them are a little bit newer, but overall, your coaching staff, how do you think they've done, and how much have you liked what they're doing?
I think they've done a great job. I think I think overall, in terms of training camp and the organization, in which the staff has brought things in and put forth, and the input they have in practices and things like that. I think they're exactly what I expected they would be when we hired them.
You talked a lot about accountability, and that's certainly a big topic of conversation around camp. Have you noticed any shifts in terms of mentality or approach from the group as a whole?
Well, I wasn't here before, so I come in with no preconceived notions. I don't know the shift. I can only know what I hear, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Past is past, and so I think what I've said right from day one, over the course of this training camp, is the guys have worked, and they've done their best to embrace whatever it is us as a coaching staff is telling them, and you know, that's it's been a very good group from that standpoint.
Sorry, I came late. I'm not sure if
That's
asked, but was there an update on Montour's evaluation that you said happened yesterday?
No, nobody asked, and there still isn't an update. We, you know, he's still day to day.
And then looking at the your full power play out there with the guys there. I know it's just one day, but what did you see from them and you know, the personnel that you got?
Oh, I thought they moved the puck real well. I thought they found plays, they made plays. I thought it was a real step in the right direction. And then you look at it from the penalty kill side, and you're like, ooh. But I thought the power play was good.
It's probably a little tough, right? Where you're like, well, power play looks good, but is that the power play looking good, or is that we need more work on the penalty kill?
Well, it's a little bit of both, always, you know. But the power play looked good. There's no question about it. And you know, in terms of practice and penalty killing, you know, nobody wants to get in the way of. We don't want anybody getting hurt, blocking shots and things like that. So you gotta take a little bit of it with a grain of salt and understand that there's different situations that you know, may or may not have happened on the penalty kill. But I will say that the power play moved the puck well.
In talking about a few players, Wright was one, and there was others. I think also Mason. That you expect even more from them when the regular season starts. Is that part of it? Is they don't play as physical, or they don't do some things in practice because they don't want to?
Well, you know, I mean, look at it's exhibition. Guys do want to make it to the regular season. We had a number of injuries, right? So everybody might be a little gun shy to a certain degree. But at the end of the day, you have to go out on the ice and compete and practice, because, you know, how you practice is how you play, and how you play is a byproduct of how you practice. So, you know, it's. And I think we've practiced hard. I think there's even more consistency we can have in that area. But certainly once the regular season starts, everything amps up. And, you know, there's no question, you can go through every organization in this league, and all veterans feel the same way, you know, about the fact that they'll be ready on opening night.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah.